Ghost Tactical Studios. Welcome to Tactical Tuesday, live on YouTube and simulcasting on GunChannels.com. Make sure to check out our complete catalog of podcasts on iHeartRadio, iTunes, GunStreamer.com, and PodBean. What is going on, my Ghost Squad? Welcome to Tactical Tuesday. Today is Tuesday, September 4th, 2018. We are in the midst of a warm summer, but thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to come to the AC if you are inside and listening to the podcast. We really appreciate having you guys on. As always, we are live on YouTube, and we are always simulcasting on GunChannels.com. If you are not familiar with GunChannels.com, as I like to say, please crawl out from under the rock in which you live. Here is a link. GunChannels.com is a great pro-gun and Second Amendment activist and advocate community started by G-Webs almost 5 years ago. I think November or October, something like that will be 5 years. It's a great place to come over, talk guns, Second Amendment, anything you have to ask. There's always someone around the 24-hour lobby chat that will probably have the answers. Most of your show and podcast hosts that you watch and listen to, we're all pretty much over on Gun Channels. Come check us out. We have a great show tonight. We're going to run through the room on Gun Channels to see who's over there. We've got G-Webs over there, The Pants, Dead Horse, and Gizzard Gary. On the YouTube side, we've got a jumping crowd already. We've got 37 Money Train. What's up, buddy? Patriot in the Dark. He says he thought he was going to miss it today, but he did not. Nighthog, Texas Blaze, the Troll Daddies out there. Rick Nether says, Ghost, it won't play. That was about half an hour ago. Well, dude, we weren't live yet, so there's a reason why it won't play, but we are live now. Hopefully it's playing now. Hemi's out there, says, Go Brewers. I'm a Reds fan. Sorry, bro. David Bowling, the Kingpin, is out there. Let's see here. We got Scott's out there. What's up, Scott? Nighthog, I think I said Nighthog. Leonidas of Spartan, D-Temp, Gizzard Gary. Einstein, General Relativity's out there. Gun-loving Grandpa Stanley. What's up, Buck? Rick's out there. Guitar Man Pete. What's up, my man? Pete? Hemi, I think I said Hemi. Maybe not have. Paul's out there. What's up, Paul? He's checking on y'all. He's making sure you're doing everything right. You know how it is, oversight and everything.
Yep.
Caleb's out there. Let's see here. Andrew Faulkner, what's going on? He said we can start now. MW Tactical's out there and in here. Nate's up there. Patrick Pew Pew. Daily Gun Show. You know, G's out there with all 27 of his accounts out there throwing it up, so I appreciate you very much. We've got a great show. If you guys haven't been on the show before, welcome to the channel. Welcome to the show. Go ahead and make sure you type something in the chat. We don't know you're out there unless you say something. So go ahead and say what's up. Hottie's out there. What's going on, Hottie? Gunpowder Beauty. Jesse, I sent you a link if you want to jump in. I'd love to have you. Anyways, if you guys haven't, go ahead and make sure you say hello. If you want a question asked, make sure you tag myself or someone on the panel. We'll get the questions asked. If you really want to make sure, go ahead and send an email to live@ghosttactical.us. If you're watching this in replay and you have a question for the next week, go ahead and submit that question. We'll get that read live on air. So let's run through the panel real quick. It's a distinguished panel with that. So let's say hello to from South Carolina. We got Mike with MW Tactical. What's going on, my man?
Not too much, man. Thanks for the invite. And like, it's always a pleasure to be here.
Love having you on, my man. Love having you on. Hope you had a great Labor Day weekend.
Oh, yeah. Plenty of time at the range and just throwing lead down there. So you know how it goes when you hear that steel ping.
All right. I guess she's from Michigan now. She is a transplant from Texas into Michigan. Gunpowder Beauty. What's going on, Gunpowder?
Hey, thanks for the invite. Yeah, kind of nice being in Michigan. It's rained a couple of days here since I've been here, but so much cooler than Texas.
Yeah, it's probably not 110 degrees either.
No, the hottest it's been is 90, and everyone who lives here complains it's so hot. I'm like, y'all don't know hot. That's cute.
I hear you. From Flo Rida, the tactical troll daddy himself. What's up, Tack? How you doing, man?
Literally just less than 48 hours to go. It's your last chance. Unsub Kevin the Tack Daddy now. 48 hours from now, a new show starts. It's going to be so awesome that you'll want to be subbed, but not now. So go unsub.
It's so awesome. He's telling you to unsub him right now.
Unsub, and then talk to me in 2 nights.
There you go. RL's up there. Beaverwood Outdoors is out there. 2 Live Moo's out there. I love that name. I always like saying 2 Live Moo. From Arizona, the Godfather. What is going on, G? How you doing, my friend?
Good. Thanks for the invite.
My pleasure. I know you've got the tour starting up hopefully this week. What's your first stop? Do you know?
Some gun shop along the way, probably, but I'm headed towards Red Dawn filming locations. I found a new couple of them and a couple of new ones, and then Dragon Man in Colorado Springs. Maybe the Trinidad Gunsmithing School, and since I'm driving past the Whittingham Museum, all that stuff.
Nice. So I'm looking forward to. I know you were at the Dragon Man last year, but that place is so awesome. I can't wait to get there myself one day, but I can't wait for that one. That's going to be great. From Texas, once again, we've sent him the wrong link. We told him the wrong night, wrong showtime, but the Tactical Leprechaun keeps showing up. What is going on, Clover? How you doing, buddy?
I'm tired.
You sound tired. What's going on?
I had to give technical support to TAC earlier. It was horrible.
Just having to deal with TAC is just a pain, you know.
Yeah.
He used a far Indian accent, by the way, and I don't mean like Mikasuka Gaming Indian. I mean like India, Bangladesh. It's very difficult.
Hello, my name is Johnny.
He makes it much more difficult than it has to be.
That is true.
Sounds like they're having issues with my mic. Is it crackling or is it sounding bad? Or can you guys hear anything?
Yep, little crackle.
A little crackle, huh?
It's gotten better since the beginning of the show, though.
Really? Interesting. Well, I have no idea. We're going to run with it and see how bad it gets. But from Utah, the man, the myth, the legend of GunStreamer.com, Austin, what is going on? How you doing?
Hey, good evening. Thanks for having me on the show.
Hey, no problem. I wanted to get your perspective on this. I know we've only got you for a half an hour, so you got another engagement. But I really kind of wanted to get your thoughts on the whole social media side. So before we get going, guys, I do want to go through my first public service announcement. So if you guys would indulge me for a few seconds, here we go.
Hey, Ghost Squad, this is Sky. At Ghost Tactical, we understand the rising tensions across America regarding guns and gun control. It is more important than ever to be vigilant about our Second Amendment rights. We encourage everyone to stay informed and contact your local, state, and federally elected officials to make sure they are hearing your voice. They represent you, and without your input, their votes may be vulnerable to outside influences. We ask that you actively support any gun rights organizations such as Gun Owners of America, Second Amendment Foundation, Firearm Policy Coalition, and even the National Rifle Association. We understand you may not agree with all the politics involved with some of the organizations, but we encourage you to keep up with and support as many as you can.
And thank you very much. Let's see here. I'm going to, is that better? Is the crackling getting any better at all, or is it still bad?
Nah, it's still there.
It's still there bad?
No, it's not bad.
Okay, because I've backed it off. I'm a good almost foot from my face. So
It sounds like a connection.
It's only when you talk, so it's not like a constant.
Okay, let me see if let me just mess with some wires. Is that better?
Yep.
All right.
Yeah, clear. Right about that.
Okay. All right. I just moved the wire, so maybe it was just banging up against something. Who knows? Who knows? All right. So what we're going to talk about, guys, is we're going to talk about the impact and the effectiveness of social media, or lack thereof, possibly, of social media in the gun industry. And the reason why I came up with this idea is I was hearing some people on some other podcasts talking about marketing, and with the gun sales and the gun industry kind of in a lull right now, a lot of people were asking, was it because of the marketing directions? Are they just ignoring the social media side, or is social media actually keeping it to where it's above float? So I thought that was kind of an interesting thing. I am going to kind of steal a little bit from Clover, because Clover likes to talk nerdy on Thursday nights. So this is going to be more of a nerdy chat. And as Kingpin says, hashtag we are social media. And that's true. A lot of us in here are content creators. We obviously have Austin in here who runs a social media platform. So I want to try to bring Austin real quick and talk to you. When it comes down to using social media for the gun industry, I'm not talking about just for content creators, and I'm not talking just about manufacturers, but as a whole, in the last few years, how have you seen, especially working behind the scenes, how have you seen social media? Is it more prevalent now? Is it as important as it was 5 years ago? Because, after Sandy Hook, 5 years, it kind of just exploded. Everyone kind of got on YouTube and all of that. But now it's more turned into more podcasts, live shows, direct market media, targeting specific audiences. From your side of it, how has it grown or has it not grown? And then also I want to ask you about advertising and people and manufacturers talking about doing ads on GunStreamer. Are they more likely to do a gun-specific platform like GunStreamer, or what have they said to you so far?
Sure. So as far as your first question, yes, I think it has grown. I think it has continued to grow. How it affects the gun industry or the firearms markets, I think has changed quite a bit. Obviously, it's a part of our lives. It's a part of everyone's lives, and we've basically given them our control, right? So I think that's where we're in a very interesting time right now, is because they're taking that control and they're actually using it, for their own personal reasons. So it's it's a very interesting time, because it's giving us sites like mine as well, but it's giving us as a population sort of an opportunity to change how it affects our lives, right? It has grown. It has continued to grow. It is ever growing. But is it getting better because it's growing? No, absolutely not. I don't think so. So yeah, so it's an interesting topic. Actually, it's a topic that could be discussed quite in depth.
Yeah, this could take several shows if we wanted to, honestly.
Yeah. As far as the advertisers and GunStreamer, your question, would they approach something like our site? I really think that they would, and obviously we're in talks with a lot of these advertisers every day. But I think there's something that I personally have learned with this endeavor specifically, is that the direction that sites like YouTube, Facebook are moving with what I think are their biases is actually the direction that they're moving is a place that the advertising system is already in. I think it's very hard to maneuver the advertising world as a gun manufacturer, as a gun social site. Anything related to firearms, it's very difficult. For instance, one of the most popular ad networks is the Google ad network, which is called DoubleClick for Publishers. I believe they're changing, or DoubleClick ad network. Sorry, the DoubleClick ad network. I believe they're changing their name, but zero firearms related material. And that's just an example. So I think a lot of these advertisers don't exactly have like a one-click solution for their advertising needs. So they need to find ways to adapt also. It affects all of us really. So that's kind of the inside picture of the exposure that I've received working specifically on this endeavor, but also having worked in similar endeavors in the past. So
yeah,
very interesting.
It is interesting because you talk about some of the advertising agencies or websites or whatever, and not really wanting to kind of go down the road of firearm clients, I guess you could call them. So I was wondering, with you guys just starting up, 6 months ago and now making another endeavor with your merger, are you guys having to contact a lot of these manufacturers or companies for advertising? or are they contacting you because they're not able to get into other platforms?
Well, for this specific market that I am in, I think part of the turbulence that has pushed me to create this have also made it a little bit interesting, because a lot of people, viewers, content creators, are skeptical. Which platform should I use? Is there going to be one platform? Maybe I should just wait it out, right? Which I don't think is a very good mindset. But viewers and content creators alike are, we're hearing that from a lot of people. I think I'm just going to wait it out. Well, we've very much heard that from the manufacturers, the advertisers as well, which is really kind of interesting. I think that a lot of people kind of assume that there's just going to be this big battle to the death and there's going to be one winner. But that's really kind of a horrible mindset to go about things when we're really sort of at a time of stress, right? So yes, we are having to reach out to them. Some of the times they've never heard of us. Sometimes we're still in very strong conversations with a lot of these people, trying to move things along. But yeah, so I mean, a few people have reached out to us specifically with interest, and we're also trying to work out all of the technical details of running their ads, running their advertisements. But for the most part, these past number of months has been us kind of doing the hustle.
Right. Now I'm not trying to ignore everyone else, but I've only got Austin for a few more minutes, so I wanted to kind of jump on this real quick. But using social media inside the gun industry, and we're going to call it gun industry everything that has to do with firearms, and obviously GunStreamer and United Gun Exchange are a part of that industry. Obviously, you're a platform within yourself, but how are you guys utilizing? And I know the answer to that because I see it all over the place, but how do you guys, what is your marketing strategy and all of that when it comes to using other social media platforms to get the GunStreamer message out? Is it successful? Do you feel like you're getting the bang for your buck when you're putting stuff on Instagram or Facebook or Twitter or whatever? How do you guys manage that? Do you have a set schedule on when you're going to post stuff on Instagram or Twitter or Facebook? Or is it just, we're going to put stuff out there and hopefully that draws more attention to GunStreamer?
That's an interesting question. I kind of wish that we had our marketing gal on here. Maybe we can get her on at some point.
I can get her a link if you want.
I really don't know if she's available right now.
Okay.
But
maybe next week we'll get her.
Yeah, we should see if she's comfortable, if she'd like to come on and answer some of these questions. But I really think we have been seeing the benefit. We've been using the social mediums to really sort of solidify to people who we are and what we mean when we say we're in business with GunStreamer. So I think that has paid off a lot. We have had a lot of struggle actually when we've run ads on the social platforms ourselves. And I'm sure you've heard all of this before. We've had a lot of ads on Facebook that have just been shut off from the get-go, and then it's been a serious battle to get them back online, or we've had to change ads and ad campaigns entirely because they don't fit within Facebook's guidelines. Even though some of them, I swear, some of them did. So from our own experience, as far as advertising on the social mediums, we've had a really rocky road. But as far as us communicating with our users via the social mediums and promoting our content creators on the social mediums, I think that has been a huge success. We've been able to develop strong relationships with a lot of our content creators, I think, because they see that we're here sort of in the trenches with them doing the fight, right? So we, and I think it benefits GunStreamer just as much or more than it benefits the content creators. We try to benefit the content creators as much as possible, but it's really their voice that is helping us, right? So we kind of leverage that in the social medium where, you'll post a video and we can highlight sort of what you've done in the video and, what tech you've used and kind of draw people to your video. obviously that helps GunStreamer. And you know, we've been able to sort of build a relationship with you because of that. So it's helped us quite a bit, actually.
Yeah, and I would say that the amount of work that you guys do for the content creators is phenomenal. I mean, I see on Instagram and Facebook and all that posts from so many different people. Hey, go check this out. Go check that out. And that's wonderful. As a content creator, I think we'll all agree that it's finally nice to have a platform that seems to be not here for us, here with us, and that's a pretty cool thing. So I want to bring in G-Webs real quick. G's been around for a long time, and I kind of want to get your thoughts on how you've seen social media being utilized from when you started way back in the day, where it might have just been a platform to kind of get someone's message out, but now, I mean, most of these marketing schemes are based upon social media now versus print and TV and radio media. Can you talk about maybe how you've seen it change over the last 10, 15 years?
Sure. So, yeah, I think that the core of it is what you started out with. It started out being a way for us to share information, and that's the core of it all. Couple of things. If they're not going to let us play, then that means there's no rules. So why would we want to play their game and continue to chase their rabbit? We've got people like Austin, we got people like Night Strike, people like yourselves that are out there cutting new ground. So let's keep putting out what we like and what we'd like to see on the internet, and let's create new networks. I don't need to be in Google's AdSense. I've been banned from Google's AdSense since 2004, and I consider that an advantage because then I'm not sucking off of that teat. So that's my opinion on it. Is this is an opportunity as much as anything, and I guess I'll finish it with how big of a picture are we looking at? Are we looking at the immediate future? Are we trying to get rich in 2 years, or are we trying to keep the Second Amendment in this country, the stuff going? Let's look at it as mowing grass and not trying to win a garden contest. So are we going to do this for the long run? Let's look at this internet, which allows, it's our First Amendment, it's our democratization of publishing. Let's look at that as the tool that it really is, and get with people like Austin and Strike and the others that are doing stuff that are creating foundation stuff that can last a while, and then create content. And the advertisers will figure that out. I mean, that's capitalism comes in and does well. Is as soon as we establish something that is solid, they're going to see that, and once they start to keep that funded, let's say, then it can get stronger and bigger, and then we won't need those other advertising platforms. That being said, I'm not saying run from them, master them. Their algorithms are easy to figure out, and Clover has lots of strategies on how to attack it. We're not strictly gun people. We might be one-issue voters. We might understand that the Second Amendment stands for more than just somebody running around like a Yahoo with a firearm. But we're all wearing boots, we're all camping, we're all got vehicles, we all have computers. There's lots of stuff that we can interact with Google and all them with. But let's take our guns and put them somewhere solid. We put our guns in a safe. Let's put our gun information in a safe place online, someplace that we create. And I don't mean we like me and Austin. I mean like you. Like, go get your own website. It costs $7 a month if you're paying a lot for it. Go talk to Night Strike. He does hosting for 2A platform, for 2A projects. And put your own stuff out there where you have it. And then these social media platforms aren't our umbilical cords or our teeth. They're just our tools.
Exactly. Mike, I know you got a couple of questions out there from the chat. You want to address a couple of those real quick before we move on to your thoughts?
Sure. Beaverwood Outdoors, he has stated, or she, whoever they are, Google and YouTube are a bigger threat than the government. How does that impact, true or false? You know, so what's your take on that one?
Anyone want to take a cut at that one before I jump in on that? Clover or gunpowder or tack, anyone?
I answered it in the chat.
Okay.
There's no way. No way.
Yeah. No, I think that if you're talking about YouTube and Google being a threat, it's a threat to possibly censorship. It's a threat to getting one's message out to the masses, but they're not dictating, they're not creating law that could change the face of America. So if, as much as we like to complain about Google and YouTube, let's keep it in perspective of what it is. And we're talking about it's a social media platform. It's a search engine, for lack of a better term. They're the two biggest search engines in the world. It is what it is, but they're not creating legislation that will change our day-to-day lives. If we don't like it, then you can leave. Now, Mike, I want to talk to you real quick about the social media side and being an instructor. I want to kind of bring on this side of it is when you're doing classes, how effective and how much do you utilize other besides YouTube, obviously, and GunStreamer and all that, but we're talking Instagram, Facebook, whatever. How often and how regularly and to what extent do you use the other social media platforms? And have you seen, if you do, have you seen a rise in clientele and business because of it?
No, because right now I'm not so much focusing on classes. My main focus right now is doing product review to try to put my name out there a little bit more. And I do use the different platforms. So if you go to GunStreamer or GunTube, you'll see the same video on those two platforms that are on YouTube. And, you know, everybody is pretty much doing it. But at the same time, I do understand how some people turn their backs on YouTube and looking for the other outlet. So if the other outlet is GunStreamer or GunTube, you know, the same thing. Some people don't know about GunStreamer or GunTube, but they're still focusing on YouTube. So I try to hit every aspect I can to get the word out as much as possible.
Tack, now you're using social media quite a bit right now because of a new endeavor that starts in less than 48 hours. But even with the Funker side of stuff, how important is utilizing the marketing and advertising side of the social media game? How important has that been to, even though Funker is a social media entity in itself, but trying to get their message out and then trying to get your new show out there, utilizing the other social media platforms to get your message out? Have you seen a lot of growth in those right there, or how are you using those?
Well, can you hear me good?
I can hear you fine. Yeah.
All right. Right on. Same as before. I don't believe in depending on one platform or whatever to be the end all be all of a business. You know, I don't have it. You know what? I might even have it close by, and if I do, hold on one second. I was just talking to somebody else about this the other day, and they asked me to just kind of sketch it for them. And basically, what I sketched was a cobweb, you know, almost like a brainstorm web, but showing the hub as the website and then all the different areas that contribute to that, and then the community around it with several of those. Again, some people call them spokes to a wheel. Some people call them, you know, part of a cobweb. Some people call it I forget what the other terms are used, but it's all how they're interconnected, and you should be dropping content and then sharing it and commenting it, encouraging conversation. And then when that conversation goes somewhere and you could support it with more content, either create it or grab it and share it. And then utilize all of the different technologies that are out there for free as best you can. I mean, there's so many of them. Some people, you know, have had success going on Twitter and again, nailing down certain influencers that they eventually befriend and have had great success doing that kind of stuff. There's a lot of saturation right now, and I think a lot of people are saying what's next. But I think if you just have a solid plan and you do a bunch of stuff and it all kind of revolves around each other, it doesn't matter if it's, again, New Show Aware and Prepared, Tack Daddy, Mike doing his thing, Gunpowder Beauty, Clover, Ghost, G-Webs. Doesn't matter what you are or what you're doing. If you're using everything, and again, with enough concentration on the ones that are doing the best for you, might make sense.
Right. Couple quick things right here on the super chats. Rick sends a $2 super chat with nothing in there, so thank you. This month the super chats are going to go to the Semper Fi Fund. It is an organization that helps not just Marines but all servicemen and women coming home, whether it's education, whether it's physical needs, rearranging your house for some disabilities you may have, and yeah. Thanks, Mike. Also, they do a lot of great stuff, mental PTSD, all sorts of psychiatric help. It's a great fund. So all this month, all super chats are going to go to the Semper Fi fund. So thank you, Rick. That was a $2 with no message. He comes down later and gives a $5 super chat. So once again, thank you. And he says, social media. Oh, I almost lost it. Social media gives us, the Second Amendment community, a voice. Look at this awesome crowd coming together. It's awesome. Keep up the good work. Well, thank you, my friend. And that is something that we're going to touch on here in a second as well, that it is giving us a place. It is giving us a voice. You know, before there used to be forums, and it was more or less the keyboard commandos necessarily. And you had a voice, but it was such obscurity that no one knew anything about. You could be whoever you wanted to. And the video platforms with YouTube and GunStreamer and being able to put yourself in video in these live podcasts and chats now lets you become a real person. So I think that is huge, that they do give us a voice, but not more importantly, they give us a face to those voices. Anyone can say whatever they want behind a keyboard if no one knows who they are, what they look like, where they live, or anything. And I know G and almost don't necessarily like to turn the camera on, but they hear your voice. They know where you are. You let them become part of your circle and your life. And that's so much more important to me than just typing in a forum, because at that point, you can become whoever you want. In this game, you're going to be found out pretty quickly who you are and what you are. So I thank you very much, Rick, for that. The Semper Fi Fund will get that. Awesome. Before you go, we did have a couple more questions. If you've got 2 more seconds, I'd love to get this. Scott P out there says, how about being able to upload videos using the app? I'm assuming that must be a GunStreamer question. And do you want to do that one? And also Patriot in the Dark. He is a content creator that's a friend of ours in the GunChannels community, and he is visually impaired. And I don't know if he's joking or if he was half serious, but he says that he hears that GunStreamer allows blind guys to upload videos as well. Is there any truth to that? So I think he's already over there.
Sure. So as far as the app goes, it was a sort of technical feature that we decided was going to take enough time that we didn't want it to delay the release of the app, and also some of the features we've released most recently. It is something that we will build in the future. We are not working on it right now. We built the app more to get viewership from our viewers than we did to make it easier to use the app specifically for our content creators. Now, if you are a content creator, you can use the upload and import features from the mobile website. The website is very mobile friendly. It allows you to import videos from your camera roll. It allows you to import a video that you just took while you were on the website. So go ahead and give that a shot if you can. It will be a future feature, just not today. So sorry. We have a very, very big, ambitious development board up right now. So obviously, and also with the merge, we're going to be focusing on a lot of technology sharing in the short term. So that's going to be our main focus right now. As far as for Patriot in the Dark, yes, we have. As far as I'm aware, most of the website is has like voice friendly tags on the HTML elements. So I know that we've been we've had a few email back and forths about it. So if you're continuing to have issues with that, please let me know. I know I have seen some of your videos come in recently, so I hope you're not actually having a problem with that, or if you are, just please let me know. So we obviously would try to make it as user friendly as possible for all types of viewers. So that's one of our main goals here, is to make a website that is just as comfortable for the average user as any other platform that they're familiar with. So.
Yeah, and like I said, I think you guys are doing a great. And I understand exactly what you're talking about with the app. Before you want to start throwing enormous dollars into an app, and those things can be extremely costly. I think you guys are doing it the right way. Let's try to utilize the app right now to get viewers. We all know that 90% of people do everything from their cell phones now. So if you have an app and you are a presence on that app, then at least you're getting viewers. And as time goes, and if everything's working out, then yeah, you can always add different features. So I hear exactly what you're saying, that being that you're trying to get viewers. And someone was talking about earlier is he does 90% of their stuff on the phone. If you're having issues and you're not, I can do it on my phone, because I will also, you can go to your browser, and sometimes you can use your browser and say use desktop mode, and you go to GunStreamer.com and you'll actually kind of view it as a desktop, and you can upload your videos from your phone that way if you have them saved on your phone. So there are ways to work around. You may not be able to actually do it through the app, but you can do it through a browser. So if you're really wanting to upload videos from your phone on GunStreamer, yeah, you can do it through the browser. Right.
And there is on the mobile website, if you visit GunStreamer.com on your phone, there is a little plus sign that kind of hovers, that sticks to the page.
It's kind of green and white, I think, isn't it?
Yeah. So you can, if you click on that, it'll push up 2 little links you can use, and one of them is to upload from your phone. So
sounds good. Now, Gunpowder, I want to bring you in and bring a different perspective here. Is being, and I'm not trying to exploit you as the female panelist, but I'm going to exploit you as a female panelist. Now, from the female side of things, with what you're doing with Gun Gals and what you're doing with your own channel, and you guys are using social media to market a specific demographic, but as a consumer, how do you feel, or do you feel good or bad about how manufacturers possibly are utilizing social media towards women? Do you feel that they're marketing the women's demographic enough or not enough, or how do you feel about that?
It's a little weird. Depending on what it is, it's usually not enough. Like when it comes to range stuff or stuff that women would use as far as in everyday gun life. There's not a lot of companies out there that really target women, but thankfully there are companies like Girls with Gun Clothing, Hiding Hilda, Gun Goddess, and those companies. But the stuff that you see on Facebook, you don't see a lot of those ads. When it comes to Twitter, a lot of that stuff doesn't pop up for me. And that kind of sucks. But Instagram has kind of upped their game for those kind of companies and what kind of ads you get and stuff like that. But still a little disappointing.
Right. Now, when you guys are promoting the Gun Gals, or you're promoting your own channel as Gunpowder Beauty, how much or little are you utilizing other social media platforms to draw them to, let's just say, draw them to your videos?
For Gun Gals, we use Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, those kind of things. I don't think that we're on any other social media as far as that. But we are on GunStreamer, and we're looking for GunTube, just uploading more content. And then I love the fact that those sites give you the option to copy the link and be able to post it to your other social media platforms. So that does help. And when you copy the link, it takes them directly to the video. So you're not having to open it up through Facebook or whichever.
Right.
Yeah. We're still in the early process of it, so I think as we grow, it's going to get a lot better for us. We just have to be patient and get through the beginning stages.
Well, that brings up another point. I want to bring Clover in on this one. And, Clover is kind of becoming one of the masters of utilizing social media. And so I want to pose a question to you. Obviously, the impact and the effectiveness of social media, should you be consistent with it and all of that, has helped your channel. But exactly how are you utilizing other social media? Are you using them to host your stuff? Are you using it to market it and bring them into other positions, including your website? I mean, exactly how are you doing? Because you're all over the place on different social media platforms.
Well, you are too. So it's kind of like the pot calling the kettle black there.
Well, I am, but you see, you're on different groups in Facebook. You're in different groups that way, so you're utilizing a bigger pool than I am. I have a presence, but you're actually utilizing it. probably a lot better.
Tag Daddy talked about it a second ago when he was talking about it's a network or a web or a whatever, a wheel, spoked wheel, or however you want to look at it, right? And there's certain pockets that you want to replicate, right? You want to replicate that content. And then there's certain pockets that you want similar content, but it's not maybe put forth in the same fashion. And for example, like sharing a link to Facebook, right? A lot of people go through and they just share to a bunch of groups that they belong to. I get that. And they don't actually put a unique post with each share that's relevant for that particular group. It's just, hey guys, check out this new video of this whatever model rifle or something, blah blah blah. And that's the same thing to each group that they're sending out. So it's not personalized in a way. It doesn't spark that relationship and that engagement with somebody that thinks that, oh, this guy has put out, or girl or group has put out this content or put out this piece of information for me. This is what I'm looking for. This is what I wanted to see. This is what I'm interested in. Right? And it's a matter of getting it out there in a fashion, because viewers and everybody out there should know where I stand on this. And I don't mean this in a bad way, but viewers out there are selfish. I'm a viewer, so I understand this too. I don't want to watch ads. I don't want to watch crap I don't want to watch. Right. And so you have to make it personal for them, I think, in a way. And to do that, you've got people that are podcasts. You've got people that listen on the go. You got people that love to participate live. You got people that could care less about live. If you watch numbers, you can easily tell that there's way more people watching these live than even type in the chat. Well, how is that? It's because people, maybe they're not able to. I get that we have some out there that may be truckers or on the road or commuting to work or whatever and may not be able to type. But there's obviously people listening to this live right now that don't type in the chat. So you've got this big, huge demographic of people that are wanting to absorb this content. And the only way you can do that is to put it out like Baskin Robbins in all the different flavors.
No, you're right. Before we move on, I got a couple super chats. Black Cat Outdoors. So RL out there says, all right, it's for a good cause. Plus I get great self promotion. So let's send a shout out to Black Cat Outdoors. Go check them out on all the social media platforms. I did think he said he has about 30 subscribers on GunStreamer, and I think he said 8 on YouTube. So if you're not subscribed to RL, or it's Black Cat Outdoors, go make sure you do that. He's putting some good stuff out there. He has some really cool lunchtime chats and all sorts of stuff that you guys can catch him on. So thank you to Black Cat, and go check him out on all of the social media. And also Patriot in the Dark, who we just mentioned, sends a $9.99 super chat. He said, Simplify, bro, watch this video on GunStreamer. So go ahead and click that link. Go watch that video on GunStreamer. And Semper Fidelis, my brother. Appreciate you very much. Yeah, and we're going to talk about this again real quick, and we'll throw this out there to anybody. Kind of going what you were saying, Clover, is being targeting different demographics and targeting different groups. If you're going to share a link, don't just throw a range link. If you're doing a range video, you might not want to throw that in on a podcasters group that you're in, or a YouTube creator group. You want to make sure that you're using the social media, not only using it, but using it properly. If you're doing a range video and you belong to a group that's shooting, or this, that, and the other, make sure that you're doing it the right way. You can be everywhere on every social media platform, but if you're using it wrong, then you're probably not only not helping yourself, but you're probably doing yourself harm, because even if you had a chance to maybe convert some of those people, they're going to sit there and say, this guy doesn't even care that he's targeting the wrong audience. So I think you're right. Targeting the right audience is crucial. Austin, I know that you probably got to head out here in a minute. Do you have anything that you want to talk about before you head out?
No, it's been fun though. Thank you for having me. Sorry I got to take off early.
Yeah.
But I'll try to join up here with you again in the future. So thank you.
Yeah, let's try to get Ashley on, and if Paul wants to jump on as well, we'll try to get them all on, and we'll have a little powwow and bring Ashley on as the social media and kind of see what she has to say if she's able and willing to. So thanks for coming on, buddy. I appreciate it very much.
Very cool. All right, thank you.
Got it. Go check out GunStreamer.com. All right, now, Mike, well, do you have anything you want to bring up? Not just questions from the chat, but do you have anything you want to bring up on how you're utilizing, not just utilizing it for your classes, but now we'll talk about your actual channel. And I know you're doing a lot of reviews, but when you put out some kind of a marketing campaign, let's say you have a new video that came out this morning, which you always do every Tuesday, what platforms are you advertising that link? And are you going to Instagram? Are you going to Twitter? Are you going to Facebook? Are you going to Pinterest? What platforms do you actually utilize, and how do you utilize those?
Okay, so when I have a new video coming out, I utilize Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. All right, so I don't never advertise on the video platforms to say, hey, I got a video coming out. So the people that are on those networks of Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, I'm looking at it as hopefully it'll draw them from those three to go to the other ones to look at. Because if you go on Instagram right now, you'll see like I put it up like, okay, I'm doing a product review on this product, which this week was the Primary Arms Variable Optic. And under that, I have all the platforms and the name you can find me under on those platforms, you know, so you can go watch those videos.
Yeah. Now, TAC, I know that you put some stuff over here in the site. Come on, you want to talk a little bit about that?
No, that's a real. I thought a homeboy that was with us could be able to see that.
Oh, he probably could, but he might not have seen it.
We'll give him a call.
There you go. All right, so let's talk about you a little bit, and let's just I want to take Funker for a second. When you guys were putting out stuff this summer, and you guys were hitting it pretty hard with different training classes y'all are going to and all that, when you were putting out stuff for Funker, who is a massive presence on a lot of different social media platforms, is marketing of getting your link in front of more people as important to getting new viewers, or are you more worried about connecting with the current following that you have, because you guys have such a large following? What's more important? Are you always trying to grow? And I think everyone's always trying to grow. Are you trying to grow, or are you trying to keep up the standard of what you guys have been putting out?
Both.
Okay.
You know, honestly, you never stop growing. You never stop making sure that you're serving the audience.
So when you guys are using social media to direct them towards, let's say, a YouTube video that just came out, do you try to use
mainly on YouTube and on Facebook is really where that concentration is in that world. A little bit of Instagram, some other places, but for the most part, that's really it. And the website.
So, well, that was my next question. Are you trying to draw people more towards YouTube, more towards Facebook, or more to the website when you guys are using your marketing strategies?
That's a loose term, but I would say YouTube is the concentration when it comes to the Funker stuff.
Okay, all right.
No doubt about it.
Everyone has a website. Well, not everyone, but most of us in this room have a website that we have a lot of our stuff where it's centralized, where you can find all of our links, all of our stuff. So a lot of people sit there and say, we want to send you to our website. But with Funker, it is seemed to be more YouTube centric, where that's kind of where you guys collect the crowds and all that. So I was just kind of wondering how you guys were utilizing Facebook and YouTube to sit there and say, I know Clover and G will use a lot of their videos to get people to their website. So I just didn't know how Funker was using that.
Funker's audience is almost 1 million. It's so basically whatever is released gets a decent amount. And then it's based on the personality, in my opinion. That's what I've seen of how big it goes. As far as strategy and all that, it's just not there. The originator of the whole thing's really concentrating on the martial arts side of things right now. So it's just kind of in its own groove of probably not the best example of utilizing all those things that we were talking about.
Right. Go up here. Ashley did say that she's willing to. She's at football tonight, so there's a lot of background noise some of the time for sure. Yeah, we'll get you on maybe next week if you're on, Ashley. We'd love to get your perspective of the social media side of things. Let's go to G. Gee, I know what the gun show loopholes are, but you've got so many different websites, obviously being gun websites. You've got so many different websites. And I love the way you do, because you do certain videos to push them towards certain websites. It's not just to go to gunwebsites.com, but sometimes you're sending them to Every Second Matters. Sometimes you're sending them to the Minuteman. Sometimes you're sending them to Gear website. So when you're utilizing social media, it's almost like you're using YouTube to get them more to your websites and to other things, or to gun channels, which is a lot of opposite, because sometimes, most of the time, I use my website to be an easier place to get to all my other social media stuff. So explain to me your strategy of trying to get people to where you want them.
All right, that's a good question. I don't have a strategy, for one. Number two, because I'm just playing on the internet. Number two, I'm not selling much, right? I have to sell some stuff to keep going now, because YouTube just isn't throwing money at us, which was nice for a long time. But aside from that, I don't have an agenda to sell anybody anything or change anybody's mind. I'm trying to share information. And since there's a lot of people sharing information, over the years, that's developed into, I appreciate the content that gets created from the ground up. So creating communities, right? And encouraging others and helping others and playing with the tools that we've got. At the same time, we're able to find more people interested in putting stuff on the internet. The methods of putting stuff on the internet are getting easier and easier. We're already talking about how to fiddle with your thumb on a phone to get a video from, the world to the internet in moments for no cost. And it's shared with hundreds, if not thousands of people. That's fun stuff. So my agenda isn't an agenda. It's not a business model to follow. And I certainly have no respect for social medias. They're interesting tools, but I have as much respect for them as I have for the asphalt on the road. If it's annoying, it's annoying. If it works, it's great. We should master it. It's all built for 15-year-olds. But I've been doing this for a while. AOL, MySpace, YouTube. What's next? None of this stuff is permanent. We're not making a perfect flower garden, and once we've got our award, we're going to sit down. I mean, maybe if you are, that's great. But most of us are trying to keep a consistent garden and mow the lawn. So let's not look at it as, how do we work with these things, but how do we make them work for us? And if they don't, move along. But a lot of them, I'm just repeating myself, we have the ability to master more than one task. These are simple platforms. So if you're really interested in doing stuff, follow the lead of some other people, do something that's your own flavor, that's of your interest, and just all the other advice is all valid too.
Yeah, I mean, I think that you hit on a great part there. Is if you're going to start into this game, you're starting it for a reason, and you have a message that you want to get out, whatever that message is. Let that be your mission. And we talk about missions. We've talked about what your channel stands for and what you're doing to help that mission and being consistent and truthful to that mission. We talked about that on different shows and all that stuff. But I want to talk to real quick, the gunpowder is, when you started out and you thought, okay, there isn't that many female voices out in the gun community that are working hard. There are a lot of channels out there that are gun bunnies and all that, but yourself and the gun gals are really there to try to bring an everyday woman feel and look to it. So utilizing your question is that you guys are answering one-on-one, but also utilizing your own channel and gun gals through Instagram and Facebook and all that in your group. What I would like to know is in your Facebook group, now I know you have a Facebook group, but you also have a private one that kind of women can kind of join. Have you noticed that growing? And have you heard anything from the ladies that are your viewers that sit there and said, hey, we wish we could see more? Or since Facebook is a social media platform that kind of feeds what you're going to be doing on YouTube, what kind of compliments or what kind of feedback are you getting in your Facebook groups?
For us, that's kind of why we originally started the Facebook group for the ladies. So that way everyone kind of had a place where we could come together as women and discuss things without, not trying to bash any of the men on this panel, but not have anyone trying to like mansplain things to us or getting the man's point of view into it. We wanted to bring the women's side and it just stay with women. And we have seen it grow. It's grown a lot since day one, and it continues to grow. And that's kind of what we love about it, is people who we would have never even thought would be on there. We've got sisters, wives, grandmothers, aunts, everyone that's slowly joining. And you've got this one person that joins, and they talk to their family. Sorry, my kids are right in my ear. And so they kind of spread the word for us, and more women have been joining. And it's great because we get to hear, well, I'm having a hard time finding a holster that fits this lifestyle, or whichever issue they're having. And that's where we can sit there and tell them, if you're looking into a new gun, I highly suggest you go find a range that rents guns so you can actually shoot something before you buy it. Or if you're a really active person and a Kydex holster or something like that isn't going to really work for you, there are companies like Femme Fatale and them out there that have something that's a little easier to manage. And that's pretty much what we love about it, is we get lots of women with different issues and different opinions, and we all get to come together as a community, and it's really nice.
Yeah. Clove, I wanted to talk to you a little bit more about, we were kind of talking earlier with being on multiple different platforms. Have you seen in the last few months, when you kind of start expanding your reach to the podcast side and taking the audio and making an actual true podcast, and then you have the GunStreamers and GunTubes, the UGEtubes and everywhere else, have you seen numbers kind of increase as far as the overall reach? Because we talk about viewers, we talk about subscribers, but what a lot of people don't understand is when you're talking to manufacturers, they want to kind of know what your reach is. And have you expanded your reach to a point to where, I'll put it this way, if you don't want to, you don't have to, but what kind of reach are you talking now with all of your platforms combined? Do you have any idea what that reach number is?
Off the top of my head, no, I couldn't tell you. Not a realized reach anyway. I could sit here and spout numbers, but you're talking about followers and subs and things like that. And the thing about it is you've got impressions, clicks, conversions, all of that is honest engagement. All of that is where it's at. That's what is going to affect your reach. Realistically, when you're talking about, if you're talking about a manufacturer and being able to help said manufacturer or any business in any niche, then yeah, end of the day, if you can't get the word of their company out, or you can't sell products for them, you're not doing them a bit of good. You know what I mean? And if you have people that watch you, but you're in, again, this goes back into, I'm not harping on any particular viewer or thing like that, but if you're not careful with your demographic and you throw it out there, and let's say you bring in, somebody and their cheapest product is several $1,000s, or let's say you're trying to sell a Mercedes, right? And your demographic is 18 to 24-year-olds or something. Well, it's probably not going to sell very many Mercedes for them, so you've got to be really careful with that. So definitely pay attention to those demographics when you're doing things. But it all helps and it all adds up. And the thing, I don't remember who it was in the chat, but somebody was upset that, or not upset, but saying that they got more subs on one platform than the other or something, and they got a lot of views here, but they didn't get any subs. Getting views and not getting subs is a great problem to have.
It is.
Getting subs and nobody viewing is absolutely horrible. That does you no good at all. So don't sit and stress over. Biggest thing is don't stress over the numbers. Don't watch your numbers and analytics and all that every day. Every couple of weeks or so, kind of keep a rolling average and look at things, and look at it through the lens of your particular video or project or podcast or whatever you're doing as well. And then look at a bigger picture thing, because we all do little series and things like that. And some do well with one demographic and some may not. It has to do with the taste that that person out there consuming that content has.
Right. I want to bring in Tack real quick. Someone who's been working on a lot of deals with companies on multiple different channels, with your own, with different media that you're working with. I want to kind of get your opinion right now on the impact and the effectiveness of social media, and we'll say content creators in general from a manufacturer side. When you're talking to these companies about getting maybe some sponsorships deal for your channel or your show or whatever, do they see the value now of, even though you might not have the biggest channel, you might not have the most live viewers in the world, are they starting to understand the value of getting a live audience and watching a replay, that the creators that are putting more live content or at least consistent content out there, do you see a shift in some of those companies saying that this is more likely to get some sponsors now? Because I know you just picked up some for your new show. If you can, maybe talk about how that happened and what the conversation was about doing a live show being maybe attractive to these companies.
I'll answer the first part of your question.
Okay.
I believe that a lot of the lack of business acumen amongst bigger channels that have numbers that overpromised, under-delivered to a bunch of companies. The companies are now on to the point where everything is ROI for them. So if you can't not only prove that you can give them something directly for their time, money, and energy and effort, but long-term, good luck. It's pretty tough right now.
Yeah. I want to address
they have budgets. They have real people that they have to answer to, and throwing out free gear and stuff is easy. Getting into real world business with guys that are doing this again on a weekend basis, on a after hours basis, they're vetting everybody. So if you don't have the goods, you really probably, even if, again, you could become friends with people and get good relationships with people, but even then you're going to have to get through a couple layers of red tape, including someone who signs off on the budget.
No doubt. I want to address a question, or actually a comment out there by Kingpin. David Bowling says he likes getting subs, but he would like getting more comments. Some of his videos have a lot of views, but very few comments. Let me give you a little help on what I do. And I don't know if it works or not, but I seem to get quite a few comments on my videos. I always, the very first question or the very first comment I make on a video, I always pin it first of all. And I'll always say, hey, thanks for watching. And then I'll say something like, let me know what you do for this or how you do this, or I'll ask them a question. And that sparks a conversation, because that's really what comments are, is a conversation that's not through voice to voice, it's through your video. And so if you can ask a question or ask them to leave their take or their views on this, that might start it. And next thing you know, you've got 100 some odd comments because you're asking a question. And this, I'm not going to say to do this, but I know that there are people that do it, and it's very, very effective also, is anytime someone makes a comment to your video, ask them a question. And you continuously answer with a question. What you're doing is you're continuously adding to that conversation. The comments, all it is a step-by-step conversation. So don't be afraid to ask the opinions. Don't be afraid to challenge them, to your viewers, to almost require an answer. Throw something out there. They talk about clickbait with titles and thumbnails. Don't be afraid to use a little bit of clickbait in your comment also, and pin it to the top so that everyone sees that up top. So yeah, anybody else in here have any thoughts on how to get maybe more comments on a video?
I know on my videos, I just put it up, and then like when I post it on Facebook or Instagram, like I just ask, hey, check it out and tell me what you think. and you know, people actually come in and they give their insight, and a lot of people either text or call me, and with a few emails also, but I don't share those with people because you know, like if you didn't hit me up on a social media platform to share your opinion, obviously you didn't want everybody else to hear it, so I don't like disrespect anybody like that.
Yeah.
I found you gotta make it easy. You gotta make it a lot easier on them. And you're right. In your video, at some point, it's best to do it during the middle because, you know, again, you get back into watching your oh heck, what am I thinking? Your retention times.
Right.
You know, people may not be watching the whole thing. So it's better to do it early, you know, mid-roll, something like that. But I mean, pose a very specific, pointed question, something they don't have to think about. If you just say, tell me what you think about this video, well, they've got to think about a bunch of crap, right? if you go, what's your favorite 124 grain 9mm ammunition? That's pretty pointed right there. It's pretty specific, and they don't really have to think a whole lot. You've done set forth a lot of criteria, and then they can go in and answer that question. So I think that's another method you can use to approach the whole comment thing. And don't get hung up. I've gotten hung up lately because I'll get comments and I'll reply to those comments because it's like, oh, okay, here's a chance for a conversation. And then I'll reply and those people never say anything back. So you're going to get those fly-by-night viewers. They're going to come in, they're going to view, they're going to comment, and they got notifications turned off. They don't know that you replied to their comment, whatever. They're just fly-by-nighters. So, you know, don't get frustrated with that sort of a situation.
Sure. Now, Guitar Man Pete up there says loyal viewers should comment at least a good vid, or I disagree with whatever. I don't necessarily agree with that. I'm not saying you're wrong, Pete. I'm saying that if we're doing our jobs as creators and we have provided them with a video that either they really like or they really hate, they probably will comment, especially if you're talking about what Clover's saying, or what I was saying earlier is if you ask a specific targeted question for them to reply to. But I don't expect viewers to just leave a comment, and I appreciate all the comments. I love reading my comments and I love answering all of them. But, you know, as much as I would like to have the comments there, you know, if it's something that you're just commenting, don't feel like you're obligated, because what I want to know is if I'm not getting very many comments on a video, good or bad, that means that video is probably pretty bland. It's kind of middle of the road. Didn't really upset anybody, didn't really excite anybody. So I need to step up my game. I'm one of those people that I will try to comment on videos that I watch that I like. I try not to maybe disagree. I'll send an email. Now, there are some that I will blatantly disagree with and I will put publicly, but I will, most of the time, I will try to sit there and say good vid, or I will try to, if I see someone who's posted a video and they haven't put their comment up, hey, let me know what you think of the video, I will put a comment on there saying, hey, you know, great video. What do you recommend? Or let's hear what everybody else has to say about what their favorite carry gun is. So for me, it's always trying to start up a dialogue in the comment section. Like I said, if you think about it as a conversation, I think that you could really, you know, have a really good success with the comments. And I understand that probably went down a rabbit hole. But no, and David was saying he doesn't want to be annoying, doesn't want to bug people with the comment strands. But that's where the engagement is. That's why so many people like Clover's live 4 or 5 days a week now. That's just his own stuff, much less jumping on other podcasts and other shows. But live is where you will start to notice your comments and your engagement starting on your produced content as well. If you're able or willing to start up a live show or a podcast and you have that instant engagement with the viewers right then and there, and you're able to answer them and you have a discussion with them live, then they get to know you better. And then so they kind of get to know you as a person. So when you do put produced content out there, you're not just some guy behind a camera. You're David, or you're Trey, or you're Chris, or you're Mike, or you're G, or you're Kevin. You're a person and not this Wizard of Oz kind of a guy. So I would say that the interaction of live, if you're not able or willing to start your own live stream, start jumping on the lobby chats over at GunChannels, or try to jump on some of our podcasts and become a panelist and kind of get your feet wet with the live side of things, because I think that that's probably where you're going to start to see the engagement, and that will translate to probably more comments in your produced content. That's just me. Anybody else have any thoughts or things for David, or anybody out there that's trying to get more engagement or comments in their videos?
Yeah, just do it. You know, don't care what nobody think or say. Just experiment with it. Play around with it. See what works for you, because what works for me might not work for Ghost, might not work for Clove, definitely won't work for Tac. But at the same time, you might figure out that missing piece to the puzzle off of your interaction within those social media platforms. Yeah.
Now the tactical pickle out there says that G Webs is the Wizard of Oz, but it works for him, and it does. It works for G. Those of us that have been blessed and fortunate enough to hang around G and all of that, we know what's behind the curtain, and so that I understand that they're the mystique of what G is. And G, I'm not going to bring this in. I know you don't like to talk about it a whole lot, but I would love if you ever do decide to turn the camera on. Please, please, please let me know, because I think that would be one of the most fun live streams that you probably would ever see. No, but let's talk real quick before we get out of here. We're going to start closing up. I know that Night Strike's going to come on here probably in about 5 or 10 minutes. But I want to kind of start with G real quick and talk about, since your time on YouTube and in the industry, in the social media industry, one last question for you, G, is this. The impact of social media and the effectiveness of social media. Have you noticed that there have been companies that are leaving the printed media, the magazines, radio spots and all that? Is social media as big as we think it is, or do they still have the old school presence on the old school media? Is social media effective as we think it is?
I think so. I think it's actually more effective than a lot of people can understand it to be. So we've got a lot of potential in front of us. And I mean, there's certainly going to be printed media, but you've already seen things like the new magazines that are hitting the stands, that show that that's not completely dead, but that whatever method of information is definitely limited, and we're not limited over here. So the new media is going to have so much more potential, and plus we're all in it. We can, the means of production for printing is an all-time low as it's ever been in history, but that's a big chunk of our country. We have a First Amendment. We all like our Second Amendment. That first one's still first, and that's freedom of the press. We are, exercising that every moment right here. So I think it's certainly got so much more potential than any of us can imagine. Just look at our phones. Look at anything, any aspect of it, and go back 5-10 years, and try to project where it's going to go. I definitely think this could be a great series of discussions.
Yeah, we're going to try to, I'm going to carry this on for a couple of weeks, because I think that it is important to get different perspectives. And I had a guest that was supposed to be on, something happened at the last minute, but there's some guests and we haven't lined up, and we're talking social media directors from manufacturers, from organizations, from foundations and all that I think would be an interesting series. And I didn't really think it was going to turn into this, but I think that it would be pretty awesome that I'm going to start doing that. But you mentioned one thing about it not costing much money, and I want to bring this up to Clover or to Gunpowder, anybody out there. So this is not going to be a structured thing. Just go ahead and talk about this question. But are the manufacturers, are they getting quote unquote free advertisement when they send gear? Is that something, and Kevin talked about it earlier, about it's easier for them to send gear, but eventually they can only send so much gear out to be reviewed and all that. But the presence on social media, from a lot of the creator standpoints, they're basically getting, for lack of a better word, free advertising for their stuff. Now, the cost of the gear would be a cost they had to build in, but they're getting a lot more views, and we're kind of putting in the hard work and using the money of our own channels to get their message out. So the question I'm going to pose to you guys out there in the panel, and it doesn't have to be anyone specific, but the future of advertising, do you guys see that the content creators not just the big ones, but as a whole, will they become a more integral part of a manufacturer's marketing strategy, saying, instead of they're saying we're going to spend this much money over here and this, and this, are they going to start putting aside T&E budget and saying, hey, we're going to spend up to $10,000 this year on free gear to send out to these content creators, because we're going to get so much more reach and so much more exposure than the $10,000 could ever buy in a magazine or a TV ad. Do you guys think that the act of and the presence of content creators is the wave of the future for, we'll call them commercials? And that's basically what reviews are free commercials to these guys.
I hope so. That'd be nice.
Well, and we would talk about that, Clover, and I want to ask you this. We have talked about getting to manufacturers on your shows, and you had mentioned that some of these guys don't realize that they're getting basically an infomercial. They're getting a live infomercial. What's it going to take for some of these manufacturers to understand that the utilization of content creators to get a message out could be so much more beneficial?
Well, I don't know. This is a hard one to dissect and go into as far as the way my brain is processing things on it. But first of all, when we're dealing with these, we got to realize that when we're dealing with I'm just going to say the industry, because that's how I kind of build the whole Friday show. So when we're dealing with businesses within the industry, we got to realize that we have varying levels of business. We have varying ways that they're set up. Some of them outsource their marketing. Some of them do marketing in-house, and all of that's going to be different, right? At the end of the day, the ones that I think, especially if you're a young channel, I think the ones that you go for is the ones that, maybe you're trying to come up to. They're appreciative of what you're doing, right? And I can think of several that have really helped out my channel along the way with that sort of thing. And then you get into the big boys, and I've told this story before, but I mean, I don't mind saying it. It was Henry that done it, but talked back and forth with Henry, thought we were going to get them on the Friday show, and it looked promising. It was like, hey, here's what we do. You'll come on. Henry has some awesome history we could talk about, without a doubt. So you're getting your history out there to the viewers, and then we can get into products and changes made to the products over the years, and just talk about the products. Okay, you bring your products to my viewers. You bring your company to my viewers. That's a lot different than you sending me crap and then me making a video telling the viewers how great your crap is. Why don't you come on like Gary did a couple weeks ago with Honor Defense, and you explain all of your stuff? Who knows it better than you, right? So come on, let's show you some love. I get an email back, and I'm paraphrasing, of course, that says, oh, that doesn't really align with our values right now, blah, 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 but we'll be in touch. And I'm thinking, how does that not? Now, I think what it was is they probably seen my numbers and said, screw him. We're not going to go on his. It's not worth our time. And that would have been an honest answer I could have dealt with. But to pass it off, and it was not a form email, it was a written email, to say that, it just doesn't align with their vision and values or something at this time, was a ridiculous line to give me. So not real happy with Henry over that. But it just kind of goes to show you, because I've obviously booked people for the Friday show. And in fact, I'm booked up, I think, through October, or well into October with that. So there's obviously companies out there that are willing to come on, that are willing to talk about their stuff, and do see a value in you allowing them basically to utilize your connection, right? Because that's what we're doing.
Right. Tack had to go. He had some dog issues. So I'll go to a quick plug. Thursday night at 8 Eastern, 7 Central. Go check out his new show. It comes on, and he's going to be talking. It's going to be an awesome show. And I know Clover's been working on some graphics for him, but go check out his new show. Starts this Thursday at 7 Central, 8 Eastern. It's going to be a great one. Now, I know that Mike, you've been doing a bunch of reviews lately and all of that when it comes to getting the gear. And that's what a lot of young YouTubers, and I was the same way, and it's to the point now where I've actually not really wanting a whole lot more. I've got stuff that I need to review on that I've had for a month already, and it's just I just don't have time sometimes. But when people are just starting out, some of the best way to get noticed are doing gear reviews. And if you were going to do a gear review lecture to some of the younger channels, what's one of the ways that you can utilize selling yourself? Because that's really what Clover was going to talk about also, is selling yourself to these manufacturers to make them think that we are important to their cause and be able to utilize our viewers to spread their message. What are kind of the strategies that you talk about when you get some gear offers from manufacturers?
Well, first, it depends on if they know me or if they don't know me. So if they know who I am, they've been following me for a while and they see what I have to offer. But let's just happen to say if Ghost Tactical was an entity that I want to be a part of. So now when I go to Ghost, I'm going to explain to you what I do, who I am, and what I've accomplished, right? But at the same time, I'm going to mention it to you that I can bring forth a different type of audience to you that can impact your business by touching another means of the market. You know?
Oh, sure.
Yeah. So when you look at it like that, so basically what I'm saying is I can touch a certain market that you can't touch.
Right.
You know.
Well, and let's take that a step further, and we'll go to gunpowder real quick. Now, I know that yourself and Gun Gals are going to be trying to stick with maybe products that are more female friendly, but I think that there is also a chance for you guys to go to a male dominated, you carry a 1911, okay? Not a lot of women carry a 1911. So going to a platform, let's say going to Colt and talking about a 1911 and 45 ACP, I think that you can sit there and say, not just going women products, but let's go to male dominated typical products and say, it's not just for men only. Females can use this product too. I carry a 1911 45 ACP on my hip everywhere I go, or in my bag or whatever. Has there been thought for you or for Gun Gals to try to break down and take certain products that are looked upon as being a male-dominated product and try to break down those walls and say, hey, guys, we're here also. We can utilize these products as well. And if you have tried to do that, what kind of feedback are you getting from some of these manufacturers that you're talking to?
I actually haven't thought of that, but now that you said it, that's going to have to be a conversation that we have because that sounds really awesome. We did talk to, I talked to Colt when we were at the NRA show, and they couldn't believe that I carried the 1911. And when we went to Tulsa, when I had my Femme Fatale holster I made it to fit the 1911, and even she was a little surprised that that's what I like to carry. And so I think that's definitely something to look into. And with Gun Gals, sorry, apparently somebody's trying to call. With Gun Gals, that's definitely going to have to be a conversation we have, because that does open up a lot more content opportunities, and who knows, we could drastically change the way that a lot of women look at firearms if we were able to do that.
Yeah, there was a comment that was made out there, and forgive me, I can't remember who made the comment on the chat talking about it seems like the bigger channels kind of stick with the bigger channels until maybe they get the SHOT Show and see how the smaller channels are working their tails off. I think to a certain extent that's probably correct to some of them, because I think some of them are going to SHOT Show to be seen at SHOT Show. There are still some bigger channels that are going to SHOT or NRA or some of these different conventions, and they're working their tails off. But those are the ones that are actually going to look at someone like myself and say, that guy's a lot smaller than I am, but he's doing it the right way. And I know Clover can say the same thing, and Mike can say the same thing. We've all been to the NRAs, the SHOTs in the last year, and some of the friends that we've made that are big channels, are only because they probably appreciate our work ethic, or we're not starstruck. We're going to talk to them just like they are a normal person, not because they are Yankee or they're Tim or they're whoever. They're just Tim or they're just Yankee or whatever. We don't look at them as saying, oh my gosh, that's so-and-so and that's so-and-so. They're colleagues of ours. But I think the work ethic that a lot of us put in, because if you're a smaller channel, you do have to want it that much more. You're going to have to go put in that much more effort to get seen by 100 vendors, and maybe you get 2 of them to bite. The bigger channels, they go to 10 vendors and get 8 of them to bite. If I want 8 vendors to bite, I'm going to have to go see 100 of them to get those 8 vendors, and that's okay. I love that. I love the game and I love the process. But G, Mike, Clover, you guys have anything about, the work ethic at these shows and these, I don't know what you call them, the NRAs, the SHOT shows, the conventions, I guess you would call them. The opportunity as a smaller channel is there if you know what you're looking for. Clover and I talk about it all the time. Going down to we call it the dungeon. I don't even know if that's really what they're supposed to call it, but we call it the dungeon down at SHOT Show. You're talking about smaller channels have a better chance of getting stuff down there because they're smaller companies, and any kind of viewership or any kind of vision that they have, and we can get them anything, then that's the biggest thing that we're looking at. Is we're trying to give them exposure to a smaller company, but exposure to bigger companies. If you go in there and you act like you're supposed to be there and you act like you're the man and you can help them, confidence goes for so much. And it doesn't matter how big your channel is. If you know what you're talking about, you're well spoken, you can bring a delivered and basically a message that will help their product, they're going to look at you. Clover, what are you saying about SHOT Show NRA? I know you and I are very similar. We don't look at it as if we're small channels trying to get in the big dogs. We go there and saying, I don't care how big I am, you need me. Is that kind of how you think as well?
Yeah, of course. I mean, it's all about presentation and attitude. And, you go in, you don't go in, please, sir, can I have some more? You go in and you say, hey, what's up? I'm the Tactical Leprechaun. Let's cut a deal, man. I can pimp your stuff out. Let's do it. Who's the marketing guy? Come on. Let's go to dinner. Let's go out and have a smoke, whatever. Go in confident and sure of yourself. Right. And yeah, I think it's important that you balance it out, because that brass ring, that H&K, that, whatever, Smith & Wesson, Ruger, whatever, there's always a chance that you could score something like that. So yeah, every now and then buy a lottery ticket on those, right? But at the end of the day, find some people that are appreciative, that when you're talking to them, that seem appreciative of what you're doing, and that's going to go a lot further as far as a relationship, because there's a lot of businesses in the industry, and if the big guys, if Hickok or whoever are pimping stuff for the big guys, that's cool. I mean, somebody has to pimp stuff for the smaller guys, and eventually the smaller guys may be bigger guys, and when they get that way, they're going to remember who went to the dance with them, I think.
Now, Jarhead 6 up there says the most important thing is don't sell out over a pack. The biggest thing that and that's what I always try to say is when I get opportunities to do some review stuff, the first thing I tell them is, look, if I think it's good stuff, I'm going to tell people it's good stuff. If I think it's crap, then I'll give you the opportunity to at least maybe send me something else. Maybe it was a bad sample. Send me a different one, or if they don't respond, then I'm going to basically tell people it's crap, and that's okay. Just be honest, be truthful, and it's okay to. And a lot of people sit there and say this getting free stuff means you get free stuff. That does not mean that we have to give a positive review if you're true to yourself. What were you going to say?
Well, what I was going to say is, depending on what it is, what they're looking for is they're looking for exposure, right? They're looking for what's the word? I used it earlier. Impressions. Okay. They're just looking for their product to be put out in front of somebody, regardless of whether you take it and destroy it, or, you spout some line about that's the greatest thing since sliced bread. So there's nothing wrong with taking those cheap items. You've done them. I've done them. Bunches of other people have done them, but don't be dishonest about it. It is what it is. This is a cheap, basically, piece of junk, maybe without saying it's a cheap piece of junk, and then kind of have some fun with it. Right. And
Yep.
you've served everybody. You've entertained people. You put the product out there in front of people. Maybe somebody for that kind of money, they think, hey, that's all the money I got, and so that'll work for me for right now. And they go buy it. That's cool. That's a win-win. It's one of them situations where everybody's happy. I just think you've got to do it in a way you can handle. We talked about this before with the cheap sellout stuff. You just got to handle it in a way to where you're not pimping out that cheap stuff. You're honest about it.
Yeah, actually out there saying durability test, and you did a nice durability test with your belt. I have actually been sent a rifle scope. I think it was like a $45 rifle scope. That my first impressions for what it is for $45, it's a decent durable scope. But this winter time is going to be fun because we're going to put it out in the elements and the ice and the snow, and we're going to do all sorts of really fun stuff to this scope, and we're really going to find out this winter time if it's worth anything. And for $45, you can't really expect a whole lot, but what if it comes out and it still rolls? It still runs, it still rolls pretty nice. So like I said, take that. If that's what you're looking for is free stuff, then take it. But like you said, don't sell out just to get free stuff. Make sure that you're doing it justice, because if you start overselling some stuff and a lot of people go buy that stuff and then it turns out to be crap, well, that's not going to help your reputation at all with the viewers. And that's really what it's all about. It's not necessarily your reputation with the manufacturers. They don't even really know you a whole lot. Your reputation should be with the viewers. If you're giving quality reviews out there, honest reviews, whether it's good or bad, that's what's going to matter. Because if you have a good following and a good loyal following of viewers, okay, then the companies will follow. Tax out there saying it's the last time to unsub him. He wants to have it, so he's trying to sell promote in a negative way. It is what it is. The troll daddy is trolling. I hope the dogs are okay, but go check out his show Thursday night. We're going to start wrapping up. It's been an hour and a half. I thank everybody for watching. We're still going 39 strong, which is great after an hour and a half. So let's start with Mike real quick. And Mike, I know you've got some stuff going on. Let's hear your plugs for a little bit.
Okay. First of all, I want everybody to go check out the Black Man with the Gun podcast, where you can find me weekly, where I'm giving the tips and review segment and having a conversation with the host, Ken Blanchard, about different topics around the 2A community. There is an app called Black Man with the Gun. Go get it. Listen to the podcast. Tell me what you think. If you want to call me, you can at 803-250-1256. We can talk about anything you like. If we talk about guns, we might be talking for a couple hours, because I can do that all day. If I don't answer the phone, leave a voicemail or a text message, and I promise I'll get back to you. All right. For those who are willing to contribute to the campaigns that we started and support our efforts, please go to gofundme.com/M-W Tactical. So right now, our goal is by October 1st, we're trying to get $3,000 so we can put the other two sheriffs through jiu-jitsu training for a year. All right. Now, we just got finished talking about the different social media platforms. So if you go to GunStreamer, look up Munitions Weapons Tactical. And if you go to GunTube, UGEtube, and YouTube, look up M-W Tactical and look at the videos that I put up every Tuesday. So this Tuesday, today, we just did a review on the Primary Arms 1-6x24 variable optic. Go check it out. Tell me what you think. I was talking to a couple people in the chat, and I'm curious to hear your take on what you think on that video. All right. So go to one of those platforms and check out the video and get back to me. Tell me what you think. Also, go to Facebook and Instagram. Look me up, M-W Tactical. Like, subscribe, and give me a thumbs up, thumbs down. But tell me what you like, what you don't like, and let's all have fun at the party.
There you go. Now, I want to say real quick, Ashley out there says that one thing that helps to get views to your uploads is when she can tag companies that you use ammo or optics or whatever. And that is true. If you're going to do reviews and you are utilizing Instagram or Facebook to promote that review video, but you're doing a review on some Safariland holster, who Safariland might have 2 million people that follow their stuff on different platforms. Well, you tag Safariland and you do a good review, chances are they're going to share your link on all of their platforms, and now you've gone some people watching to multiple millions possibly watching. So yeah, that's right. Tag, make sure you're utilizing social media to enhance your viewership as much as you can. Mike, thanks always for coming on. Gunpowder, what you got going on your channel and Gun Gals?
For me, we're still trying to unpack and get everything kind of situated where we're at. But for Gun Gals, we are constantly putting out our questions, and we have different topics that we're wanting to discuss here in the next couple of weeks. But everyone go check us out every Sunday. We go live 9 p.m. Central Standard Time. Thank you for having me. It was wonderful.
Always love having you, kiddo. Say hi to the kids. As Troy, I'm sure he's causing trouble up there, but make sure that we tell him we miss him. And we want to see more of him back in the show when he's able to.
Yes, definitely. And just so everybody knows, I haven't throat punched him since he's been here. So, he's behaving pretty good.
I hear you. Now, G, I know you're busy. You're leaving this week for the Gun Show Loophole Tour. It's a 48-day, 14-state, 5,000-mile trip. Is that correct?
Yep, definitely. But I got gizzarded like 3 times. So let me throw something out there real quick.
Yeah, go for it.
All right, know your worth, right? Know your value. There's 300 and something million people in this country. There's nowhere near that many people that grab a phone or a camera and put stuff on YouTube. When you guys are talking about having goals and ambition, that's great, but don't shoot for the top and only see that. There's rungs on the way there. So you've already got, if you're creating content, you've already got numbers, right? Go impress a local gun shop. Guess what a local gun shop has? Thousands of items. And they've got budgets for newspapers and for flyers, and you can do better than a bench on a bus stop. You can do better than a dandy dime or whatever it's called in your neck of the woods. And you can get your hands on some stuff. You can borrow stuff. Look what Travis is doing. Look at how awesome a job Travis is doing. He doesn't own every single gun he touches. And you start to imagine when Travis goes to SHOT Show for the first time with his accumulation of work. It's going to be a different level than somebody who's just walking around with wide eyes for the first time. Gimme, gimme, gimme. So, I want you to all have goals and aspirations, but remember that there's rungs on that ladder and utilize those. And you have value now. Take that to the people that appreciate that value. And like everybody's saying in the text chat out there on the YouTube, even though it should be on Gun Channels, that just be true. Like you've been saying, just be true to your whatever your channel mission is, and work with the people that appreciate that. Free ammo, come on, look at how many people are making reloaded ammo, right? You can impress those people and get a supply of ammo. If you want to work your way up, great, but do what you're doing and make your goal to do what you're doing, and then grow that. But start, like you keep saying, grab a camera and start. But yeah, I'm going out on the tour. Appreciate it, and look forward to the Gun Rights Policy Conference. A bunch of new museums, hopefully 100 gun shops. Yeah, it's in Chicago this year. So thanks for the show. Good one. Hopefully it's the beginning of a series.
Well, yeah, I think this will be a fun series, but I'm interested to kind of feel the vibe. Last year, I believe you were in Dallas for the policy, and this year it's in Chicago. Being in a place that is not necessarily pro-gun, I would be interested to kind of feel or hear about how the vibe is in Chicago. That would be very, very interesting to be there. I wish we could get up there, but I can't. But we'll be listening.
It's done intentionally.
What's that?
It's done intentionally. They alternate between friendly and unfriendly cities and states. Okay. So that we can all appreciate it. It's tough to know what it's like in California. I've done a couple of trips over there and been gunless for weeks, and it's interesting, but we don't live it. Going to Chicago is going to be an ordeal, and it's going to be a nuisance, but at least I'll taste the infringements, the tyranny that they're living under. So there's a reason for it. But yeah, I'll try to do my best to kind of give the feeling of what it's like there, because it will be different than Dallas. You're right.
Oh, definitely. Clover, I know that you've got your table is full of stuff.
Food.
You have coming up tomorrow night.
Oh, tomorrow night?
Yeah.
Well, assuming that I hate to say this, but I haven't made contact with them. and
Uh-oh.
I've tried anything and everything. So, yeah, we'll see. But yeah, another competitive shooter. I mean, I've got on the schedule if I can make contact, and yeah, assuming that it's not one of those situations where they bailed on me. And then that's booked up for quite a few weeks anyway. Thursday night, we're going to pick up where G kind of left us off last Thursday with, motivation and in downtimes and downturns and things like that, and what keeps us going and motivated and that sort of thing. So that'll be in the nerd chat. And then we've got Modern Spartan Systems, who produces some, according to them, some pretty revolutionary cleaning supplies and stuff. So we're going to talk to them about some of the tech behind that and the different products and things they offer on Friday. But other than that, I don't do much of nothing. You know that. I am working on with my patrons over on Patreon. I've already threw up one video over there. Working on potentially a new series, a very basic series. That's all I'll say on that. I'm planning on doing a few over there on Patreon first, getting some feedback from the crew over there, which is great. And then I may start releasing those. I don't know that there'll be anything. Most of the guys that tune in live, and girls, by the way, that tune in live, probably is way beneath their level of knowledge, but I think it's important to have some real basic stuff out there. So may proceed with that if the patrons approve.
Yeah, I love that idea. Guys, I just want to say thank you for watching. If you're watching in replay, go ahead and give us a thumbs up if you liked it. Subscribe if you're listening to it on iHeartRadio or iTunes or Spotify or PodBean. Tell your buddies. Spotify just came on the list this week, so I'm really excited about that. I think Clover's now on Spotify as well.
Yep. So
really excited about that. That's another huge platform that people listen to podcasts, and I never really thought about it until several months ago about the podcast side, where we get sometimes so close-minded about YouTube and doing the video thing, that there are people that that drive for a living and they don't get a chance to watch YouTube, but they will listen to podcasts all day, every day. So,
and there's so many different platforms and things out there. Was my problem until I had seen, I wasn't copycatting or anything, but I seen you did Spotify, and I was like, oh crap! I didn't even think about it. Yeah. You know what I mean? And so that's what's nice about all of us that are branching out, is it at least makes everybody else aware that those options are out there.
Yeah, and I didn't even think about Spotify until last week. I was mowing the lawn and I had my earbuds in, listening to some music on Spotify. And I don't pay for their services, so I just get the free one. So every now and then it'll be a commercial, and they're talking a podcast, and I was like, they do podcasts on Spotify? Sure enough, there they are. So I said, what the hell am I doing? So it was one of those things that, so yeah, it was kind of an easy thing. But more importantly, guys, I had a great fun shoot on Sunday, on Labor Day, at my local range. We put some steel out there, some moving targets, and we had about 15 people there. Half of them were females, and some of them were beginning shooters, and we kind of exposed them to some steel targets and all that. And we try to make it to where they're having fun with the reactive targets, with the steel and all that, but they were also learning something whether they knew it or not. So we had a great time. So I encourage everybody to get to the range. If you go to the range to go shoot, be more proficient with your firearm. Take someone with you, especially if someone that might be on the fence whether they like guns or not. We all remember, I say it all the time, if I bore you, I really don't care. But we all remember the first time we pulled that trigger and the exhilaration and the adrenaline rush we got when we pulled that trigger. Maybe if we take someone that's on the fence about guns to the range, teach them the proper way to hold a gun, the safe way to be around guns, and they pull that trigger and they get excited and they understand that we're just normal people that just happen to like guns, maybe we start swaying some people. While you're out there, turn the camera on. It doesn't matter the quality of video that you have. It doesn't matter how long it is. Be part of the community. The more voices we get, the stronger the community is. And as far as the social media side, and I think G said it earlier, the more people that we have that are putting their cameras on and producing content, the more that the manufacturers and the advertisers have to take our gun community seriously. So get out there, and thank everyone who supports on Patreon. Go check us out at www.ghosttackle.us. You'll have the links to all of our stuff. Thank you for all the super chats. Thank you for watching and listening. We'll make sure you guys go watch Hit or Miss on YouTube. The channel is Night Strike 1. On GunChannels, it's Hit or Miss. Go check out Night Strike and Squib and Gary and Travis and all those guys. They do a great job. Thank you as always for watching. We will see you next week. Semper Fidelis.